This is Ervin Nil Temporal, President and CEO of 9.09 Review Center.
Why a lot of people are asking, so should I go for regular IELTS? Should I go for OET?
Hi, Manong George here. Welcome to our channel. And today we have a very special guest.
Hello everyone, I'm Ervin Nil Temporal, the President and CEO of 9.09 Review Center. We're established since 2007. We started offering IELTS review services. Then we started offering OET services and PTE review as well. I've worked with nurses since 2006. So I originally came from Davao and then I transferred to UP Diliman. When I turned 18, that was when I started to look for jobs. And really, the truth of the matter is, as I always tell my people in class, I was rejected by a lot of companies back then, knowing that I wasn't a college graduate. I mean, when you're 18 and you don't have a diploma, what are the chances that you're going to get a job? So I started to look for a job November 2005. That's when I turned 18. But I was only able to look for a job May 2006. Back then, I was even asking, why can't I get a job? It took me dozens of applications, but maybe God answers in His own time. That was when I was able to get an employment under an IELTS review center owned by a former IELTS examiner. So it started from there. And then I left after 2 months because of misunderstanding, miscommunication, let's say differences. And that's when I started as a private IELTS tutor. So May 2006 to March of 2007, I was able to produce, I can vividly remember, more than 400 users during that time. So that's when we started operating Niner in April of 2007. And then after 3 months of operation, we became the #5 IELTS agent in the entire Philippines. And 3 more months, October of 2007, that's when we became the #1 in the entire Philippines. And we were able to maintain that for 13 years.
Here
So
is the #1. Yes.
Yeah. For the record, I'm not a nurse. I finished a degree in BA Communication Research from UP Diliman. Not even an English teacher. But, there are certain plans that do not materialize. But God has something in store for you. So for some of our nurses here, waiting for them to go to the UK, but all of a sudden, COVID happened. There is a reason for everything. You just have to wait for your turn.
If I was to choose, would it be IELTS or OET? What would be the difference?
So before, it was just plain IELTS, academic IELTS. And then all of a sudden, IELTS for UKVI was required. So that's United Kingdom Visas and Immigration. It's not really a type of test, but that's how they call it, IELTS for UKVI. So a lot of people were asking, so what's the difference between regular academic IELTS and IELTS for UKVI? And then they're quite surprised that the answer is, it's just the CCTV monitoring. Regular academic IELTS costs 10,680 pesos. And then IELTS for UKVI, 13,885 pesos. They use exactly the same test paper. They use the same examiners in speaking and writing. But the difference, regular academic IELTS, no CCTV monitoring, and then IELTS for UKVI with CCTV monitoring. So as I always tell my students in class, if you are a regular IELTS candidate, you're like a commoner because no one is observing you while you're taking the test. But if you are a UKVI candidate, you're like a PBB housemate because someone is monitoring you while you're taking the exam. But the review and preparation for both, they're exactly the same because, as I've said, same level of difficulty, same test paper, same examiners. Now, here comes OET, Occupational English Test. So as compared to the IELTS, that's UK-based. OET, Occupational English Test, that's Australian-based. That's why before, you get to hear Australian accent. That's most common for OET. That's why a lot of people are asking, so should I go for regular IELTS? Should I go for OET? The main advantage of IELTS is that it is accepted by 6 English-speaking countries and even more. It is accepted by most visa applications. So with one IELTS result, you can use that for up to 5 English-speaking countries. Now, I'd say the main disadvantage is there are certain parts of the IELTS that may not be applicable for health workers in the hospital setting. Say, for instance, writing task one. That's statistical writing. But the argument of IELTS is, well, we are designed to, assess the proficiency of candidates, not really for health workers. Now here comes occupational English test. So the main advantage, it's an English test which focuses on your occupation, hence OET. That's why there are certain aspects of the examination which are considered more relatable. Say, for instance, in listening, you get to hear a conversation between a nurse and a patient, a conversation between a nurse and a doctor. And what is it that we are talking about? They're discussing the medical condition of the patient. So there are certain terms that people taking the OET automatically understand because they speak the same language. And then in reading, there is a specific passage that say for instance, talks about vasectomy or a specific virus. And definitely health workers can relate to that. Now, here comes writing and speaking. Writing for IELTS, you're going to write an essay. You're going to write a statistical report. But for the writing subjects of OET, it's more of a referral letter, a discharge letter. So say, for instance, dear blah, 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 I am a nurse assigned to this patient, diagnosed with this and that, admitted on this day. And now that the patient is ready for discharge, here are the things that you're supposed to do at home. So if I'm a nurse, I don't need to display my, let's say, virtuosity or dexterity in the English language if I were to take OET. I just have to understand the case notes and write something that follows correct English rules and at the same time more applicable in the hospital setting. Now here comes speaking in IELTS. The examiner can literally initiate a conversation that talks about anything under the sun, from flowers to park to birds to trees. But what about what about OET? It's a role play. So the nurse and the doctor, or let's say the nurse and the patient, talk about a certain medical condition or talk about a certain patient. So this is exactly the reason why more people find OET relatable. I have nothing against the IELTS, really. In fact, I have a lot of students who made it to the UK because of IELTS. But for most people, they might want to choose OET simply because it's relatable to their profession.
But let's talk about the pricing. Which would be
Yes, yes.
more pricey?
Well, regular IELTS is, as I've said, 10,680 pesos. There was, in fact, a proposal to raise it to 11,500 last April, but obviously everyone knows what happened. Hello, COVID. Hello, ECQ. 10,680, that's what the nurses have to prepare if they want to take the IELTS. Not 13,885 anymore because IELTS for UKVI is no longer strictly required. So with a cheaper version of the IELTS, they can go to the United Kingdom. Now, what about OET? Yes, it's more expensive at 587 Australian dollars. So the amount in pesos, well, you just have to look at the the exchange rate because it's not fixed. It might cost twice as much as the IELTS, but for some people, they're willing to take it because they feel they can easily pass this examination as compared to the IELTS. Again, I am not in the position to influence the decision of people if they're supposed to take this or that. But at the end of the day, if they want to take the more relatable examination based on their professional knowledge, then perhaps OET might offer them that advantage, even if it's more expensive.
How are you adapting to the current situation, and how could people reach you if they'd say, you know what, I'd want to be a step ahead, I'd want to learn my English now, so maybe I can prepare going to the UK, to the US, to Australia, to New Zealand. What can they do, Sir Ervin?
Well, as I was saying earlier, prior to the start of our recorded conversation, right now, we're at the crossroads because certain landlords required us to pay for rent since March 16, even if we did not use the office. And then here comes IAPF saying that no face-to-face classes are allowed by Malacanang until August 31. But this is what life is all about. We just have to adapt. We just have to adjust. So right now we're offering online review services for IELTS, for OET, but we're following Philippine time. So the three classes in a day, 9 a.m. to 12 noon, 1 p.m. to 4 p.m., and 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. And we're just charging 4,000 pesos. That's unlimited review for 12 months. So unlimited lectures, unlimited one-on-one coaching. We are still employing our teachers. So there's one lecturer per day and then one IELTS coach, one OET coach. But on a weekly basis, we adjust the number of slots depending on the number of candidates going for one-on-one coaching. And then some people ask me, are you kidding me? Like, what is 4,000 pesos here in the UK? That's less than 100 pounds, right? Am I right? Yeah.
Definitely less than
Uh,
100 times.
but to be honest with you, I'm not thinking of profit this year. My only objective for this year is survival. And as I saw it, as I encountered it from the internet, someone said, if you're able to survive 2020, then you must have made a profit already. So 4,000, yes, that's it. And that's unlimited lectures, unlimited one-on-one coaching for 12 months. And that includes the review materials already. So they don't have to worry about paying a hefty amount just to prepare for the examination.
This might be one of the best times to get access to the top English review center in the country. Take note, they've been number one for a reason for the longest time, and now they're just here to make sure that they can help you. So if I was you, I'd probably go and join them right now. So,
Certain, yeah, if I may add certain advantages, sir. Number one, they don't have to think about traveling, no more traffic. And then number two, there are certain locations in the Philippines that don't have 9.09ers. So say for instance, if they're from Pagadian, if they're from Samar, if they're from Palawan, they can attend our online classes without asking, oh, is there a Niner branch close to where I live? They don't have to think about these anymore. And what else? Perhaps they can prepare for the examination after their work because we have night classes. So we just have to look at the positive side, even if now everyone's struggling. It's just a matter of adapting to the situation.
so, sir, I salute you, not only because of what you've done and what you've made out of an 18-year-old student looking for a job and was not employed for a year. And now you've been number one for 13 years. You're providing jobs and helping people not only by employing them, but
Mhm.
helping them to achieve their dreams. So thank you, sir. You are doing a great.
If they want to reach me personally, as you've noticed, I'm very responsive. I may not be able to reply immediately, but rest assured, I check my messages and try to respond within the day or within the next 48 hours. I'm the one responding to my personal FB account. I'm also the one responding to all the messages sent to the official Facebook of Niner. So you know it's the official account if it has more than 100,000 followers. So I usually reply when I wake up in the morning and then when I go to bed. So if they have any questions, feel free to shoot me a message.
All right.
Always remember, Manong knows.
Manong knows best, put your worries to rest when staying in the United Kingdom. Manong knows best.